Polish folk music tells a story. Each note, strummed, plucked, and sang, paints a picture. A picture full of beauty, despite the country's quite ugly past. Poland's folk music tells a story of profound emotion, derived from its years of oppression, which truthfully, not even music has quite the capacity to express. Centuries ago, in the 15 and 1600s, Poland saw a golden age in its culture, an age where music flourished. Though prosperity in Poland didn't last long. The 18th century came and went, and Poland became a land of war and internal instability. Given the newly difficult and troublesome circumstances, Poland's musical life suffered and regressed. This isn't to say that Polish composers stopped composing altogether, though what was left of the Golden Age began to wane. Poland's cultural struggles culminated in the decimation that was World War II, as the annihilation and forced movement of ethnic minorities in World War II severely disrupted folk traditions, and what was left had its credibility destroyed. During World War II, Nazi occupation of Poland saw long-lasting folk music traditions dismantled. That which remained of Polish folk music was tampered with by the communist regime, who prevented Polish composers from expressing anything which wasn't seen as politically correct, which left the art form greatly constrained. Fortunately, Polish folk music has not only survived, but in recent years undergone a renaissance, with the international success of groups such as the Warsaw Village Band and Croak. Today, Polish folk music is largely performed alongside Polish folk dancers. Popular dances include the Kuczynski, Mazurek, Oberek, Polonaise, and the well-known Krakowiak. Most dances involve both men and women, and up to around 16 members, 8 men and 8 women. Though folk music often accompanies that of a folk dance, a more modern take on the genre is performed much like any other popular music today, unaccompanied by dance and performed as an independent art form. Preserved folk recordings and current-day tradition showcase a fairly common assortment of instruments. Instrumentation in Polish folk music often consists of clarinet, violin, trumpet, and accordion, though instrumentation varies from group to group and shifts between regions. Occasionally, Polish bagpipes, the fiddle, and bass are used as well. Modern-day Polish folk music also utilizes an arrangement of new instruments, such as modern-day percussion instruments, among many others. Folk musicians who perform alongside folk dance wear what is called the strój krakowski, the Krakow costume, which is the favorite among the various regional costumes of Poland, and has come to symbolize the traditional costume of Poland in general. For women, the strój krakowski consists of a flowered crown upon the head, decorated dresses enveloped in reds, greens, and whites, as well as boots, while the men wear a vest-like tunic similarly accentuating reds and contrasting whites and blacks, a red hat decorated with peacock feathers, and boots, just as the women wear. Polish folk songs are monophonic, with melody as the most important and dominant element of the music, and they tend to be well suited to be utilized as dances. The most traditional of folk music, meant for accompaniment by dance, is often upbeat and cheerful, with the heavily melodious and bright sounds of clarinet and violin. The most typical and principal meters in Polish folk music are simple duple and triple meters, such as the Rocky theme song and the Pirates of the Caribbean theme song. Many songs collected by Kolberg, a Polish folklorist and composer responsible for preserving the work to 80 volumes of Polish folk music, which held approximately 25,000 songs and dances and about 15,000 melodies, are built around trichords, tetrachords, and the pentatonic scale. In his History of Polish Music, Alexander Polinsky also stated that the pentatonic scale, on which numerous songs are built, is of Sino-Indian origin, consisting of 5 notes: G, A, C, D, and E. Though a bright and melodious sound is very prominent in Polish folk, modern groups often play with dark and rich melodies as well, featuring string sections of violin and cello, and beautiful solo and group vocals. My personal favorite sound of Polish folk music, and the reason why this video is full of it. Though the upbeat style of Polish folk doesn't often utilize much dynamic diversity, mostly maintaining its loud and cheerful tone, the darker material, with its experimental sound, greatly utilizes dynamic highs and lows, from softs to louds and louds to softs, throughout each song. Almost all Polish folk music is monophonic, as melody is very accentuated throughout the genre. The monophonic style of Polish folk is something which distinguishes Polish folk culture from other Slavic traditions. The tradition which Polish folk music is today was bred from a place of religion, as the history of Polish music begins with the acceptance of Christianity by the Slavic nation in the 10th century. Much of this music reached Poland from Rome via neighboring Bohemia. The arrival of a new cultural practice fostered the outpouring of religious music, much of it centered on the praise and worship of the Virgin Mary. Popular Polish folk groups today include Zawiałok, with their heavy use of violin and cello. Ruda, with their very expressive vocals. And as mentioned before, the Warsaw Village Band and Krok. The folk music of Poland is an art form which, among many others native to Poland, has struggled to survive over the years. Though as its people have endured, it has as well, and today is continuing on as strong as ever, with its cheerful clarinet solos and haunting violin arrangements.